Now, a question for you guys in the audience before we get started is, who here has ever heard of a little thing called AI? Oh, okay, a couple hands. We got a couple hands. The big thing with AI is it is absolutely everywhere. If you go to CES, everyone's got, they'll just glue it to the end of their banner if it's not there already.
Microphones with AI.
For sure, why not? But there's a difference between saying you have AI, and having AI that you can actually sell, that you can actually market. So let's go down here. I'm going to start with you, Omar. What does Tesla have that's different? What makes their AI special or better?
Well, I think what makes Tesla's AI special is the millions of cars that all the people in the audience are driving. Pretty much everybody's training on the same internet data set. Everybody's working with the same source. Tesla's actually able to have cars in the United States, Mexico, Canada, China, Puerto Rico. And that's allowed them to build a data set where they have the best self-driving system in the world just based on how it drives.
Yeah, John, what do you think?
Yeah, it really comes down to miles. Honestly, it's if you like, I think the good comparison is Waymo versus Tesla, because that seems to be the thing right now with the robotaxis rolling out in Austin. And Waymo has the advantage, of course, that they've been doing this for several years. And of course, have been, if you walk around the streets around here, you see a Waymo taxi driving around. But the problem is that they have a few hundred to about 1,000 vehicles on the road at this point. You can only gather so much data, so many miles of driving from that. Whereas, how many people in the audience have a Tesla? Yeah, that's a lot of people. Okay.
I see one or two. Yeah.
Just a couple. But, you know, if you think about that, I asked somebody, a Tesla employee last night, I said, how many are on the road right now in the US? And he said somewhere around 7 million. So you're looking at orders of magnitude more vehicles on the road for Tesla than there are for Waymo or any other competitor.
And it wouldn't be a Tesla discussion if we didn't use our bingo cards, check off orders of magnitude. We got that.
Hell yeah.
A question I have as we move down the line is, I'm Ford, I'm GM, I'm somebody else. I want to buy that data. Can I? Could it exist at any price?
Well, I mean, Tesla definitely could choose to sell it, but why would they?
Well, not Tesla wouldn't sell it.
Exactly. And if you can't buy it from Tesla, who can you buy it from? Because there's not a single other auto manufacturer who has instrumented their cars. This is one of the brilliant things that Elon did so many years ago now, is he decided, hey, you know, we have just watched ImageNet, and we can tell now that AI can understand pictures, it can understand video. We need to make sure that we have cameras in all of our cars and a system to be able to capture the data from those cameras so that we can create an AI system that can then drive. And he was the only one to make that big, bold bet and spent thousands and thousands of dollars on every single car. Like John said, we've got millions of these cars on the road now, and there just isn't another auto manufacturer that has a fleet of cars that has the camera and has the computer then to be able to capture the data from the camera, you know, the storage system, and all of the intricate plumbing that's necessary to gather those, you know, many, many, many petabytes worth of video data.
Well, so far as that, could someone else even acquire that kind of data, or is this moat looking more like an ocean?
Well, the moat is a reflection of the approach that Tesla took, right? So you need a combination of a leader that's willing to take that risk. You need the employees and the staff to make it happen. You need the fleet out there already with that equipment. So it's for somebody to do it. It's going to be basically impossible, right? Unless they're willing to put the same level of total effort to make it happen. I think the thing that's an even bigger deal as we look in the future is that this is sort of stage 1 of stage 100 of what AI is going to mean in the future, right? So this car conversation is kind of already like, you know, it's already kind of old in my eyes, because this is the foundation that's going to lay the groundwork for things like humanoid robots and whatever other physical form factors there are with AI. So the physical manifestation of AI is grounded in the same thing that makes self-driving cars that Tesla's trying to make happen: the compute, the data collection, and figuring out how to. So Hans has this incredible sort of saying. So you know ChatGPT. I'm sure you guys are familiar with ChatGPT, right? What Tesla has built is Meatspace GPT, and Meatspace GPT is just the real world, but they've taken an approach to actually capture the real world and make AI work in the real world. It just so happens that the car is a manifestation of that with tires. and a steering wheel, and it goes left, right, forward, backwards. And a human robot is legs and arms, and it can move in a 3D. But then you fast forward 20 years from now, what is that going to look like? And it all starts with the things that Tesla has built for the cars. You just need 1,000, 10,000, 100 times more scale. But this is why this specific time in history is so exciting, is because this is like the 0 to 1 thing. It's like we're in it now. It exists now. Like I take robotaxi in Austin all the time. It has happened, and now we're gonna go into the future, and the manifestation of that's gonna look wildly different than whatever it looks like today.
Yeah. Oh, did you want
Yeah, I'll just jump in on that. I think the Q2 earnings call, Elon said something that I think is very important. He reiterated that Tesla's inference density, basically the intelligence that you can put in more or less a laptop, is just bar none, like way, way, way better than anybody else. So if you go to ChatGPT as an example and you say, hey, ChatGPT, why is the sky blue? Well, all of a sudden, maybe 1,000 GPUs at some giant data cluster kick on and, churn away for a while and spit you back an answer. In a Tesla, 36 times per second, this little mobile chip that's sitting in your glove box, behind your glove box, that's making that calculation. That's just something that nobody else does. That's incredibly
it's not phoning back to headquarters.
Yeah, in a life or death application, mistakes equal death.
Lag equals death.
Yeah. So if I say the sky is red, I'm not going to die, right? But if I make the wrong left turn, yeah.
Yeah. So we've been talking about the front of house on that. Let's talk about the back of house. They've got all the processing clusters. They've got their own Dojo chip. What's the advantage? Why would you want to spend all that money? Why would you want to design your own chip? Why don't you start on that?
Yeah, to be honest, I think if you gave Ford Tesla's entire data set, they wouldn't know what to do with it. I don't think they would be able to figure out how to spin up a 50,000 GPU cluster. The Tesla AI team was actually founded by two co-founders of OpenAI, Elon Musk and Andrej Karpathy. And that team, the chip cluster they have, the chip design team that designs custom chips for the cars, it's an extremely unusual combination in the tech industry. You rarely see AI expertise combined with large-scale manufacturing expertise. And that's made a big difference in the automotive sector. I think it's going to make a big difference in humanoid robots too. With humanoid robots, you really want the brain. And everybody's working with the same internet data set, but with Tesla, with their ability to mass produce Optimus, you can have Optimus learn kind of like a kid, just by experimenting, trying things. And when you have millions or thousands of these things gathering a large data set, that's going to probably translate to the smartest humanoid robot you can get.
Well, an example of that would be if you're training just on internet and you want it to have a conversation, if it's only on internet, all conversations are going to sound like a podcast instead of the real world. And that's what we're seeing. I was talking with Hans earlier about the difference between the smoothness of a Waymo and the smoothness of a Tesla taxi. For those who have had the experience, can you compare the two?
Yeah, I mean, Waymo is obviously really good. But when you actually experience the robotaxi version of the software, and for anyone who has version 13.2.9, it's really good. It feels very human-like, but there's still just like this little bit of gap. And that gap, there's this term called the uncanny valley in video graphics, where it's like, oh, you can tell that's computer generated graphics. It's not really a human face. It doesn't have the textures and the emotions. And with robotaxi software, Tesla has crossed the uncanny valley for an AI driver that feels exactly like not just a human driver, but an exceptional human driver who, like a professional chauffeur. When I ride around in Ubers around San Francisco, half the time I'm really nervous because this person is driving like a maniac. And in the
Welcome
robotaxi,
to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, this is also true in Texas. This isn't just the San Francisco.
It's actually
thing.
worse.
Yeah. But with the robotaxi software, it's so good. It's so comfortable. It makes the right decisions at the right time. And it feels not, like I said, not just like a human, but like the best human driver that you've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, if you just sit in a Waymo, you'll notice it's jerky. It feels robotic. It's very good. It'll get you there safely, but it feels like a robot's driving. The robotaxi feels like a human is driving. So much so that people don't even notice that it's a car.
I think so. I had the really kind of miraculous experience with John, Tesla owner, Silicon Valley, wherever he is, that I got to within about 1 minute of each other ride in a robotaxi. And then I had never been in a Waymo before. He'd called a Waymo up. And so we took that. And so the experience was literally back to back. And the Waymo was fine, but it again just felt like version 10 of Tesla's full self-driving software, the kind of more mechanical version of it, where it's got rules and it kind of goes through the rule set and then makes a decision. Whereas the new version of Tesla's full self-driving, especially in Austin, I literally forgot after the first couple of rides. I was like, I forgot that I was in a robotaxi.
Yeah.
And I was just talking.
And it's very difficult to convey, like the panelists have said, unless you experience it firsthand. But like the other thing that I can't stop thinking about is, and again, I really do think Waymo deserves a massive amount of credit. They've paved the way for self-driving technology. They've had to fight through regulations. They've had to set the stage for companies like Tesla and others to come, especially in the United States, to make it happen. And honestly, I think they deserve a ton of accolades for what they're doing. Round of applause for Waymo, honestly, because they deserve it. Google and Waymo really do deserve a ton of credit because they're taking a massive risk. The thing that's really hard to describe is just how much better and an end-to-end neural net system is at driving than a more heuristic based approach that Waymo, which means human code. It's not all end-to-end AI. And so that's already a huge difference. And then that technology, because of the approach Tesla has taken over the last 7-8 years, is extremely scalable. So you get a huge performance boost and you can put it on millions of cars. And that point is just so hard to get, like for most people to wrap their hands around it outside of this community. It's not because they lack intelligence. It's because it's an esoteric thing. Usually when you pay for something that's much better, you're going to pay a lot more. But in the case of Tesla, because of what they've done, you're going to get much better performance for way less because the sensor suite is a fraction of the cost than what Waymo has done. So they have this like double, triple whammy effect that keeps compounding, but it's only possible because of missed timelines from the last 7-8 years. And this is the complexity now that the company is in, is that you've had, Elon, incredible leader, really bad with timelines, but it's not because he is trying to mislead from my perspective. It's just that it's so novel that it's really hard to understand when this thing's actually going to kick in. But when it kicks in, the advantage is way too obvious, and it really drives home the point when you actually experience the technology. And so I encourage everybody, like as soon as you get access to the robotaxi, get in there, take a bunch of Waymo rides, compare for yourself, and just experience it firsthand, because it really drives home the point quite a bit.
So yeah, and that's the thing is Waymo's approach is just plain more expensive. Forget the sensors. There are cheap ones. Maybe they'll get them embedded at some point, but their vehicles cost 2 to 3 times as much. And they say, yes, but we're okay, fine. We're done with the iPace. We're going to move on to Lucid. We're going to move on to the Geely van that has 100% import tariff. Guys, you're going in the wrong direction. If you start with a car that can do everything and then say, I only want you to do one thing, you've got too much car. And the robotaxi can do one thing and it's paid for that way. And in terms of the scalability you mentioned, you saw how much the coverage map expanded. And that is a vast difference between what the Waymo folks are doing. A question
I like the pun. I like it.
You got somebody said something about a difference. I don't know. A question I would have for you is how many of you have FSD and use it?
All right. That's the crowd.
So if you have FSD and you haven't used it, if you have a car that could just try a month of it, it has gotten really good. On version 11 in my state, it was scary. On version 12, it was very competent. But on version 13, I'm done. I can't go back. I'm hooked. And I've done 7,000 miles in the last 5 weeks. I'm not going back. I can't do it. So I would beg of you all, if you haven't tried it, please try it. And if you've got a friend who would be willing to let you show them, you got to do it because it is saving lives. In terms of Dojo, what's the point? This is a very expensive project. Why, what is the advantage to having your own chip?
Well, there's a couple of advantages. The first one is the one that we knew, which was that it's designed differently. A GPU is designed for more general purpose, but even the new designs that NVIDIA has done they're kind of still general purpose AI chips. And they're designed for things like large language models, for diffusion, for making pictures or video, things like that. Tesla's Dojo is designed to train full self-driving, full stop. That's what it does, and of course Optimus. But that means that taking a massive amount of data in, because if you think about it, the visual picture, especially with 360 surround video, is incredible amount of information in. Then you're crunching all of that information and you're having to spit out an answer very, very rapidly. So massive bandwidth, a whole bunch of things like that. The other really interesting thing, again, from the Q2 earnings report, the most interesting thing that I heard that was really surprising was that Elon said that the chip in the car, the AI6 chip in the car, and Dojo are going to converge, so that what you're going to get is a little single Dojo chip with AI6 that will go in your car, but you put 1 million of those together and you get the Dojo training computer, and that opens up architectural stuff that I was like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Tesla has an amazing chip making team. And, you think about the most valuable company on the market today, NVIDIA. They've got a $4 trillion market cap. Tesla is really a collection of startups. One of those startups inside Tesla is taking on this massive data center opportunity that's more than 80% of NVIDIA's business. So when you've got something like that, something that NVIDIA makes 70% margins on, the chance of success is, it's a tough problem to crack, but if you can crack it, you can get 3 or 4 times the training compute per dollar. So this is probably one of the most important projects that the Tesla team is working on right now, especially as AI and real world AI become a more core part of their business. I think Dojo is really exciting.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that we can see with Tesla's chip ecosystem right now is that obviously NVIDIA plays a huge part of training still, and that Dojo has never really been able to displace NVIDIA from Tesla's training needs. But the reason that Tesla has such massive training needs is because the point that Elon made on the conference call about and we've already mentioned it here today, the important thing is the amount of intelligence that you get per watt on the inference. You need it in the car and in the robot, and it has to be extremely efficient and extremely smart. So as much intelligence per, unit of battery energy that you have, and there's a trade-off that the bigger your training computer is, then the smaller your inference computer can be. And so I think the really important thing when we're looking at Dojo is that convergence between AI6 and Dojo 3, where they're going to get efficiencies and just possibilities when you're using the same architecture in the inference computer that you're using in the training computer, and you can get to a large scale. That I think that's going to unlock kind of novel things that we haven't seen before, because that's something that doesn't exist. There's no, the chip that is in an NVIDIA inference computer today is not the same as a Blackwell GB200. And so that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out and, what it unlocks for Tesla and just AI in general.
Can I ask a quick? So for the nerds, okay? Because I'm definitely not a nerd. You guys are not. I'm just kidding. So, yeah. So would Tesla would they still need to go through TSMC to make this happen with Dojo? Could somebody elaborate on that a little bit?
Currently, yes. I mean, AI6, we're probably talking about 2030 before it gets here. So maybe they'll have been able to bring it in-house or to the US or somewhere else by then. Because it is a risky situation, obviously.
Chip fabs are incredibly complicated. It makes the struggles we've had with batteries look trivial. So do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, they have a saying in chip fabrication, it's not rocket science, it's harder. You got to make these things with little lasers, and one piece of dust gets in there. Everyone's wearing a bunny suit. You don't need to fabricate the chips. Apple, everybody, they use TSMC. And I think it's really interesting. If you have a Dojo chip in the car, you can do distributed training. You can have economies of scale for building out Dojo. And, Pete Bannon, he's actually the guy who worked on Apple Silicon for Apple. He was the chief engineer at PA Semi, and now he's leading Tesla. They've done phenomenal stuff. What they're doing with Dojo is not just a clone of NVIDIA. They're trying some really novel stuff. They have basically 25 computers on the same wafer, and it's a lot more power efficiency. It's a really interesting design. And with Dojo 2 on the Q2 earnings call, they said they want to add capacity that's in excess of 100,000 H100s. So that's more capacity than they have with NVIDIA today that they want to add with Dojo, with the new Dojo 2.
So guys, I want to thank you all for coming out, for listening. If you want to hear us talk about this for hours, which we could and we have, you can follow all of us. We all have presences. Farzad on X and, of course, YouTube. Hans C. Nelson, the same. And Dr. Know-It-All, also on X and YouTube. You're not as much on YouTube. You've got your new show, but on X, whole Mars catalog is an absolute juggernaut. And if you want to stay up to date on absolutely everything Tesla, that is a very good one-stop shop. I'm Brian from Futuraza. I am on, of course, X and YouTube as well. We appreciate you coming out, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Tell your friends about FSD. We beg of you.
And then one more, GigaCast, right? The GigaCast. Omar's also on there with Sawyer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wolf. Yeah, GigaCast.
There we go. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.